Alright, I'm on my way to work, so I figured I'd stop down here in the West End and wrap up that last story. It's one of the three stories I was telling you about from my early teens. The dark images that you leave on a kid. Actually, I was 9 when this took place, around 1978, 79. I'm actually sitting on the spot where this took place, but the tenement building that was here, it was a large tenement building, it's gone. They erected a new smaller one. It was a hot summer day in 79. Cops come racing by down Cranston Street. It was a couple of blocks up where I lived. And so you could tell by the activity and the types of detectives that it was something pretty big happening. So of course all the nosy neighborhood people run over here to I'm sitting on Linwood Avenue right now in the West End on Cranston Street. And the building, I probably told you in the other videos, was in the shape of a U. Okay, it had 3 entrances to the building. And they all had 2 steps like this, a little stoop like this, 2 stairs leading to the middle entrance. So I ran into the area and I hid in the shrubbery because the cops were throwing everybody out of this little area. But they were all surrounded this gentleman, a black gentleman about 40. And he was sitting on a stoop like I am now. And he was mumbling, rocking back and forth just like this, and mumbling. I assumed it would be just some drunk guy, but I couldn't understand why all these high-ranking detectives were standing around this guy. He was about 5 feet from me. I was to his right. And so I couldn't understand the situation, so I'm waiting it out. Then I heard one of the detectives say to him, said the guy's name, whatever it was, he said, "Who shot you?" And I realized, okay, the guy's shot. But I didn't see a whole lot of blood. It's not always like you think. But apparently the bullet was on his left side, so I couldn't see it to his right side. And I would find out later that somebody had rang his bell to his apartment and had shot him in the head with a .22 right here in the temple area. As I said, I didn't see a lot of blood until I started looking for it, and I only seen a little bit. For whatever reason, it wasn't pumping out. I mean, I think I understand the reason, but I'll spare you that. It doesn't always come rushing out of you like you might think. So this went on for a couple of minutes of these detectives grouping around this guy, trying to get information out of him. But he just kept rocking back and forth like this and mumbling. And I'm trying to figure it out. And then, at some point, he stopped rocking just like this. And I watched the light go out of his eyes. He died sitting right there on that stoop. I like to say I think I came out of those bushes a little bit different than I went in there. I think that was the first time I seen someone die. I've seen numerous people die, but that was the first one. I was 9, so I'm trying to process the whole thing. And I guess I made a little noise, and they threw me out of the area. And but the thing is, like I've said before, I didn't have an adult to really go tell the story to. I may have told an adult or two, but I didn't have parental supervision. To me, it became just a cool story to tell guys in the neighborhood or in the training school. When I went back to the training school, so at the time I hadn't been to the training school yet. But it was one of my cool stories. And kids like that, we like to embrace these type of stories and kind of attach ourselves to it. So in other words, by me witnessing this event, it's almost like saying I was involved, not involved in the crime itself, but I was involved in the situation by seeing it. And that, to us kids, that gave you some type of credibility. I seen a guy die, I never said a word, blah, blah, blah. And so that's part of the credibility building when you're a kid growing up in the streets. And to me, like I said, it was just a cool story. It wouldn't be till like 30-something years later, when I began writing in the joint, that I come to realize these are traumatic events. I'm not being a crybaby about it. I'm not looking to be forgiven for my past behaviors because of it or anything like that. I just question whether or not, does it have an impact on a youngster? I mean, common sense tells you it must have some type of impact, especially, I didn't do what so-called normal kids do. My parents didn't take me to a psychologist or anything to speak on the topic. And so I just carried it around. And that, on top of other ones, countless events of violence that I see over the years. And, but the thing is, my mouth is dry as hell. The thing is, to witness something at that age and carrying around for years, you gotta, you know, like I said, it has to have an impact on a kid, right? And so, the point I'm trying to make, if I can stop stuttering over here, is that, you know, keep an eye on a youngster, anyone in your life that's, you know, involved in the streets at a young age, because, you know, you can be sure that they are witnessing certain traumatic events, and they're probably not discussing it with an adult. You know, one, they probably don't want to tell their parent or their guardian where they were, because they probably weren't supposed to be there anyway. Two, they tend to, the baby, are like, oh, you okay? And, you know, kids don't want to hear that. They want to be tough guys. Or at least the kids I grew up around, that's what the mentality was, you know. You don't want to be told you need to seek treatment for something like that. You want a pat on the back for seeing something like that and being cool about it, you know, under pressure, so to speak. But, you know, that's that final story. I did a brief part of it. I did actually a good video at night over here several days ago in regards to this video. There was a car accident. There was all kind of commotion going on, but it got a bit too much, so I canceled that video. I'm going to do a little more tamer video now. Now that I got those out of the way, I can delve into some more adult stuff that I had engaged in or been around. Not that I'm revealing anything, I'm not hurting anybody. I'm just more or less showing how my psyche was developed, or how I developed into a career offender. Not blaming on that specifically, but, you know, I look at all these little elements that may have played a role, and I like to understand criminal psychology or psychology in general, and perhaps some of you viewers like to understand it as well. Help somebody in your life. That's it. That's all I have for this video. On a side note, I gotta tell you, every time I come down here to this neighborhood, it's like electrifying. It just never leaves you. This West End is one of the most richest areas in regards to crime and violence and gangs and different cultures. And you walk several blocks, you get involved in a whole other culture. And you can feel the tension in the air. You literally watch yourself down here. And for me, it's like a motivating force to do things, to get things done in regards to my history here. You know, because I see the hardships. Even when people just walk by, you see the hardships in their eyes. You know, they're struggling at their job probably, or there's a lot of immigrants down here probably terrified of immigration that's breathing over them or standing over them. And there's just a lot of variables that can shape a person's thinking, thinking down there. And you can feel that vibe in the air. That's it. As you can see, I'm just kind of trying to fill some time here. I do have a lot to say in regards to this stuff, but it's early in the morning. I'm on my way to work, and so I'll put that shit on the shelf now. But I hope you guys enjoyed these 2 videos. I'll delve into some other stuff. I got a lot of incidents that happen in prison, right up to directly being released from prison. Just on and on it goes. It's so much so that some of you probably question whether whether I'm being truthful about it. Hey, listen, I'm in a small state. I can't come on these videos and tell stories and get away with it. Everyone knows who you are around here. So, rest assured that I'm not the pathological lying type. I'm not trying to build my image. If anything, I'm trying to tear it down and rebuild something more positive. To an extent, by using these videos to do it. That's it, guys. Until the next time, I'll let you go.